my coach or my family or my doctor don't seem concerned. How do I get the courage to take this step to work on healing and recovery when those most important people in my life don't seem on board for this?
Mm-hmm. Well, that is really challenging, right? To really want something for yourself and feeling like your support system isn't on board for that. So my heart really goes out to you. Very challenging. And as far as what to do, you mentioned, how do I get the courage to take those steps? Sometimes I find it helpful to work in the reverse. So what I mean by that is I work predominantly with athletes, and oftentimes they'll come into my office because they want to work on their confidence. That's when I see a lot. And they say, I want to get confident because I want to perform better. And so I like to kind of reverse that. And so we'll focus on, okay, let's talk about the behaviors. What behaviors do you need to engage in that are in your control that will help you perform well? Sometimes I'll get things like, I got to change my body language, improve that. I need to make sure I'm focused on the present moment, focused on what I can control, communicate better with my teammates, things like that. And by focusing on that and making those changes, they end up performing well. And by performing well, then they start to feel more confident, right? And so now they have confidence going into that next competition or whatever it might be for them. So if you're asking about how do I take the steps or how do I get courage to take those steps, let's reverse that now, because we can make steps, we can make momentum without feeling brave, without feeling courage. It's okay. We can do that and still feel really scared, feel intimidated. And so I would encourage you to think about what that first step is for you. Break that step up into 4 simple, digestible, doable steps and just make the moves anyway. Don't wait for feeling confident. Don't wait to feel courage. Make the moves. And by simply making the moves, you'll start to build and earn your courage so that when those steeper, more difficult steps present themselves, now you've built the courage to overcome those.
Yes. Thank you. Going to the first half of the question in terms of not having that support system, what would be your advice for that person in, could that be listening to podcasts of someone that you admire the way that they speak? Could it be, how else could someone find someone or find support if they feel like those who they're closest to are not able to give that to them?
Sure. A couple of thoughts come to mind. One is, they might not be on board with what you're doing, but still might be willing to support you. Mm-hmm. And so think about what kind of support you need, right? What that support looks like. If it's, you just need someone to talk to or someone to kind of hold you accountable, and let them know this is what I need. Almost task them with the support, right? And maybe then they fall on board, but we don't need to wait until they're on board to kind of get that support from them in some cases. If that is not an option for you, then I think it is important to find your community, right? Maybe it's a Facebook group, maybe it's a mentor, but finding people that you can get that support from. But to get there, we want to think again, what kind of support do you feel like you need? Is it support from a professional? Because that obviously looks different. That is a matter of hiring someone. Or is it the support of someone that can just be a friend or someone that can just simply be there? So think about what it is that you truly need to make those steps, what kind of support, what that support looks like. Then we can start to be intentional about getting that support for you.
Okay. And one more option of okay, then what if it is someone who is actively, someone is trying to not be concerned with the way they look or try and move through their RED-S, their eating disorder, and they are in a family where image is everything and hurtful comments are made during this recovery process, and it's very damaging and very triggering. Any additional advice you'd offer to that person?
Yeah, I would say we want to set our boundaries, and especially when it's with family, that can be so hard. But if the goal is to take care of your health, and that is the way to go about it, or the only way to go about it, we have to set those boundaries. And so at first it might be, hey, I'm working on this thing. These are the things that are not going to help me in this process and I will not tolerate, right? So we can first share those boundaries. If that is still not respected, we might have to make a very difficult decision, which is taking a time out from those people so that we can focus on ourselves, so that we can focus on ourselves to really heal. And then, as I mentioned before, then finding other groups of people that can support us in the way we really need.
Okay, thank you.